And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're talking about a game called Dead Reckoning. Dead Reckoning is a very big pirate-themed board game from AEG, from John DeClaire, who's made a lot of games I really enjoy, especially Space Base. This is a pretty massive pirate deck-building game. John DeClaire is kind of invented the mechanism of having clear cards slide into sleeves, and so not only are you building a deck, you're building cards. So that's the way this game is set up. You're building your own pirate crew of 12 people, can expand upon them, go out, search, upgrade your ship, do all sorts of things. Let's take a look at part of the game, and then I'll tell you what I think. I'm not going to go over this game in detail, so don't use this video as a how to play, but I do want to show you some basic concepts from the game. Each player is going to start with a deck of 12 cards. You're also going to end with a deck of 12 cards. Everyone has the exact same cards, and these cards have to be in sleeves. I have some nicer, sleeves with colors, but the sleeves in the base game are pretty much the same thing. So in each sleeve, you're going to have this card here. This shows what kind of character that is. In this case, it's a crew character. And underneath, it's another card. At the end of every player's turn, every turn in the game, you're going to be able to level up a character that you have. And you'll just take the level 1 and flip it over to a level 2, flip that to a level 3, and then to a level 4. So each character, like this is a regular crew member, but their special ability at level 4 is pretty strong. When you look at the characters here, the crew level 1, it shows you in the corner what level 2 looks like, but players also have a little reference sheet that shows you there are 8 different kinds of characters and how those characters upgrade. So that's one of the way characters upgrade, but you're also going to find cards that will upgrade a character over the course of the game. When you do that, you'll be sliding these clear cards onto that character. And now you can see when I play this card, not only do I get the symbol on the bottom, I also get this symbol here. And each character can have 3 different ones played on it. So you can see the first mate here now. When I play this card, I'm going to get these 3 symbols and this symbol at the bottom. So you can really upgrade your pirates over the course of the game. So players are going to be using the cards in their hand each round of the game, and you can play them, you can save them for future turns. You'll be getting these upgrade clear cards to put in them, and then you also get to level 1 up each round. That's not the only thing players are going to be leveling up as the game goes by. You're going to be able to make your ship better. Everyone starts with the same ship here, which has a cannon on the front of it, has 2 sails, which also are holds. Each of these holds can hold goods. So in the course of the game, you're going to get barrels, which are goods that you're going to be using for selling and doing various things to get points. And then also gold. You're going to be collecting gold and sticking gold in your hulls of the ship, and you can mix and match them. This can hold 4 different things, a mixture of money and barrels. And what you're trying to do is you are trying to get back to your port so that you can put this gold into your treasure chest. You'll start with some gold in your treasure chest, but you want to have as much in here as possible because that's points at the end of the game. One of your different pirates has a chance to, as the game goes by, to upgrade your ship, where you'll be able to add things to it, which could be worth points, but more importantly, now I have another hold to hold 4 different things. Or perhaps I want to, this hold holds 2, but gives me another cannon. And there are level 1 and level 2 upgrades, and I might drop a sail here, but now I have double cannons. Speaking of sails, each player's turn, you can do a ton of actions in your turn, but you're only going to be able to do a few things, really. But one of the things you do in your turn is you set your sails. So you can see this ship has 1 sail, but because there's stuff in this hold, you can't use that sail. So, of course, I would just put it in another hold instead. So I would set my sail to 1. And then if I could also play maybe a card from my hand, like this captain card giving me another sail. So I set my sails to 2. You may set your sails once per turn, and then that's going to let you move your ship around the board. Players are going to have their own port. that's here. This is where you're going to be storing your barrels. You'll be producing barrels a lot at your port, these goods that you're going to go back and pick up and take out. But moving around the board is one of the main features of the game. And as you move around the board, you're going to land on these different islands. And there's different things that you can do. You're trying to control the different islands. Many of your different characters on your ship, your sailors, will allow you to drop cubes down on an island. And when there are a certain amount of cubes, they go on these flags here. If you have the majority of cubes, you also take control of this island. If someone else takes control from that island from you later on, your cube will still move down here and you had control of it once. And this matters for some endgame scoring conditions. But at the end of the game, whoever has the most cubes on an island is going to score points for that. So this is 3 for first, 2 for second, 1 for third. So that's one of the things you're going to be doing as you go on an island. There's also ways to build 3 different buildings on an island. Islands can produce, like this island, for example, produces a gold. If you build a certain building, it makes your production go up. Other buildings add to defense if other people try to take over your island. When you go to these areas, you can go around and discover a new area. You'll flip it over and it will show either a new island or sometimes it will show just some sea. The sea is not particularly useful, but it will sometimes add money to the production of the islands that it's pointing at, like that. So you'll find these new islands out there, but as you discover new things, you're also going to be putting these upgrade cards on them. The upgrade cards come in these boxes like this because they're clear cards, so you can't put them in a deck. And you'll draw the top card and put it here. And on a player's turn, if they have goods on their ship, they can pay these goods to buy this upgrade card. And this is how you'll make your characters better. Here I can add a ship icon. There's all kinds of icons. For example, you'll notice this icon here, which shows a captain's wheel, does nothing by itself, but some upgrades will refer to that. They'll say, for example, put a cube on an island for each one of these you have. Sometimes, as you're going around, though, you'll notice the one I'm showing you here, this one's a little different. This shows a merchant ship. So when you come across a merchant ship, you have 2 options. You can either pay them that many goods from your ship to take this card as an upgrade card, or you can decide to fight them. When you fight them, you'll flip the card, and it will show you how strong the merchant ship is. Here they're dropping 4 cubes. What happens if you win? Then you get an upgrade card that's probably different than the one on the front, and usually better. And this is what happens when you lose. At the end of your turn, you can decide to put a token on your ship to say that if anyone else moves in your area, you'll fight them. And there are some cards that let you fight other people. So let's talk about fighting. So fighting, you're going to be using a cube/dice tower. And when you fight, you're going to be getting cubes equal to the number of cannons on your ship. And then the bad guys or your opponent, sometimes if you're fighting a merchant ship, you use black cubes. If you're fighting another player, you use their color. And you're just going to drop them in here in the top, like this. And then each of these cubes is going to land on various spots on the board. Now, the middle spot is the best spot because if you land there, you not only get to drop the cube again, you drop another cube. Well, this is not as exciting because it's the enemy who's done that. Once it's done, if they land exactly on an edge, you can drop them again, but if they're mostly into one area, you just move them in that area. And you're looking at these crowns because whoever has the most crowns wins the fight. When you win the fight, your opponent's going to lose. You're going to force them out of the spot. You can take the upgrade card. You can mess with their island, various things. You also do a damage to their ship. There is also damage that's done in these spots that just happens to the opponent's ship. And if your ship takes 5 damage, it blows up, and your opponent gets a lot of money from you. There's like a swing of points there. If you land on other spots, you're going to collect gold and/or goods. This is from the debris of the battle. So there's just different things that your stuff can land on. There are cards that let you modify things. There's a card that lets you move a cube from one spot to an adjacent spot. There are cards that let you throw extra cubes in there after the battle is over to see what happens. But that's combat. Now, where the player harbors are different endgame conditions. When you meet one of these conditions, you're going to put a cube on that condition. So, for example, I have 30 gold in my treasure chest. I spend 12 barrels right now. I have 3 characters who I've upgraded to level 4. When you do that, you're going to put a cube there. That's going to give you points at the end of the game, but it's also one of the ways we can determine how the game ends. Once somebody puts 4 cubes there of the same color in the different spots, and multiple people can get them. So if I sink someone's ship and I have 4 upgrades, I've upgraded 4 of my people to level 4, and I have 30 gold, that's going to trigger the end of the game. Players will score for these bonuses. There's a couple upgrade cards that will give you endgame bonuses, and then control of the island will give you points. You're also going to add all the gold that you have on your ship and in your treasure chest, and whoever has the most is the winner. Now there's a lot more rules other than that, but that should give you some idea of how the game works. Folks, there's a lot of stuff in this game, and I am really of mixed mind on the components. For example, this is a really cool thing that you build and will need to glue together, and even comes with a box that not only shows you how to build it, but you store it inside to keep it safe. Great. It does take up a ridiculous amount of room in the box. This here, the tray, these are coming off. And you know why? Because this doesn't fit in the box unless you take it apart every time. Now forget that. I'm going to find a way to put it in the box. I'm going to take other stuff out if I have to, and I'm going to glue it in place because I'm not going to deal with that. But I found that to be a weird feature of the game. The game has cool stuff. The barrels are cool. The money's cool, although I did upgrade mine. They had a metal money upgrade, but without the metal, it was perfectly fine. The cards are really neat, although you are pulling cards in and sliding out a lot. They give you a couple extra sleeves, because I figure that some sleeves will burst as time goes by. There's a lot of symbology that players are going to take a while to learn all of it, and even though a lot of the symbols are on the back of the book, not all of it is, which I found a little odd. The rule book itself is huge. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of examples, and then there's another whole rule book here for solo play if you want to do that. The gameplay takes up a huge chunk of the table because you have the map and players have stuff in front of them. They have their little treasure chest. There are a couple production problems. The treasure chest tucks inside the box rather than on the outside. And because of that, you're going to be putting this in many times. It's going to bust. Your ship is a cool little plastic ship, but that little flag that you put on it to show that you are fighting somebody else is like a cardboard piece that just doesn't work. It falls off the ship all the time, and I found that to be kind of a pain in the neck. The other things you have, the cubes and all that, that works well. The shipboard is nice. The artwork is great. There's just a few production flaws, and then trying to store everything in a box. Again, this takes up so much space in the box. Now, I know that when people see this, they're going to say, why haven't you done a 4-square review of this game? And it's simple, because you need to play this game a lot to kind of get a feel of where you're at with it. I mean, you can always get a feel after a first impression, but not everyone here at Dice Tower Studios played it enough to do that. And as time goes by, I wouldn't be surprised if you see them review it in other videos and things like that. But I played it more than everybody else, so I want to give you my thoughts on this. First of all, I was very eager to play this game. This was very anticipated from my end. I like card crafting. I like faux pirate. And by that I mean, I know that pirates are horrible and terrible and did many terrible things, but the fantastical pirates that we've made up for stories and stuff, you know, I find that to be fun. It's fun to pretend to be a pirate and go around and fight other pirates. So I was very excited about that. So my final thoughts are this. I like this game. I like it a lot, but it has a lot of problems, so that my final thoughts of it are still positive, but I think it could have been more. So I mentioned that John DeClaire is one of my favorite designers. I think he's fantastic and has a lot of great ideas. But honestly, a lot of his games need to be pared down. They need development. Edge of Darkness had the same problem. There was just too much in it. And this game just has too much going on. So that causes a couple problems with the game. First of all, the setup and teardown on this game is immense. When you're done, you have to undo all the cards. You have to set them all back to level 1. You have to pack all the game up and put all the stuff back away. This is not a small undertaking. Okay, whatever, I can deal with that. But throughout the game, it feels like there's just one thing too many. It has those endgame conditions, which are similar to a game called Scythe. It has upgrading your pirates 2 different ways. It has upgrading your ship. It has you doing area control on the map. It has you going out and exploring new things on the map. It has you building buildings on the map. And it feels like some of that stuff could have just been cut to make a more streamlined experience. I would have cut buildings. I don't know exactly. I don't want to act like I have all the answers here, but it feels like there's just a little too much. This game is a very lengthy game, and I'm not sure it wouldn't have been just as much fun pared down to 2 hours or less. I know some of you are going to be like, oh, easily 2 hours. Not for most people. So there's parts of it I love, though. I love the cube fighting mechanism. I would have played a whole game based on that. And again, I feel like this is something with John DeClaire, the designer. Like when he first did Edge of Darkness, they paired off one of the mechanisms and made Mystic Veil, which I love because it was about that card crafting. That's the main mechanism. That's great. In this one, you got the cube tower fighting. That's great. I would like that to be its own game almost. I also like the card crafting and upgrading the pirates. That's great. Those 2 things are the best 2 parts of this game, and I love them enough to make me say I like the game. Exploring, it's okay. You know, you go out and find an island, and this island is slightly different than the last island. Buildings on the island, that's okay. The pickup and delivery, because there's definitely in this game, you need to go back to your port, get barrels, because most of the cards that produce barrels produce them at your ports. You got to go back there, get them, take them out, buy the upgrade cards, go back. You get gold while you're out there. Get the gold, take it back, put it in your treasure chest. That's fine. I don't mind that. The merchant ships, you're not sure what they're going to be. Well, that's really cool. In fact, I wish there was more cards like that. Now, I do know there are some expansions for this game that add a campaign to it, that add more cool cards that you come across. That's fine, but again, I wish they had put more of those cool cards in this game and then cut stuff like the buildings. This feels like it is just shy of a perfect pirate game. I mean, there are a lot of great aspects to it. I love the sitting there and trying to think about how I'm going to upgrade my pirates. And in fact, the game has a good rule in place where it says once you start upgrading your pirates, the next player needs to go. Because that's the case, because you'll sit there and go, who do I want to put this clear upgrade card in, and which one of these people am I going to level up? Am I going to rush people to level them up faster, or am I going to level up everyone evenly? Now, you do want to level up. For example, I think there's some people you have to level up. You have to level up the person who lets you upgrade your ship. You have to upgrade some people to let you have more speed. If you don't have speed, you don't have anything out there on the seas. So this is kind of a mixed bag for me. There's some production things. Huge setup time, huge teardown time, a few too many mechanisms. This is a teach and a half when you're teaching this to people, and you're probably going to miss stuff. And yet there's so many things that are cool. I want to play the campaigns that came with it, but I don't dare play them unless I have a lot of people who already know the base game really well. Because those campaigns are going to add new rules and new things. But they do look cool, and I would like to try them. Also, playing multiple games of this, that's a lot. This is an event-type game. So, is it the perfect pirate game? I fear to say that it is not. Do I like playing it, and would I gladly play it again? The answer to that is yes. This is the kind of game that feels a bit messy. There's too many things in it. There's some weird production choices they made. But you still get to do good pirate fights with the dropping of the cubes. You get to upgrade your characters, and you have this one character that hopefully you draw because he has 3 cannons on him. And when there's a fight, you're about to play that card and show your enemy what happens. The fighting, the cubes coming down, it's a little random. I've seen 1 cube beat 5 cubes. You know, that's how that works. The penalty for getting your ship sunk is pretty terrible, you know, comparatively. You're giving a lot of coins to the person who managed to hit you with that final shot. The game has a weird methodology for fighting, as in the defensive player basically usually decides if there's going to be a fight or not, which is kind of odd, but it also means you can't be normally easily attacked. But as the game progresses, that shifts and you can become an aggressor with certain cards. I think that's kind of a cool mechanism, but I do wish there was more fights. For as cool and grandiose as the fights are, you can play the game and never fight. You could be pretty peaceful the whole time. And being peaceful isn't a terrible strategy. Having strong area control on islands, gearing up, going around, getting upgrades, you can do pretty well at that. Yes, there are some of those endgame bonuses for destroying the other pirates, but being peaceful's a nice way to go. But the game isn't called Merchants and Marauders, it's called Dead Reckoning! So, it's messy. I like it. It's fun, but it's not for everyone. Keep that in mind. It's going to be a game that's a blast, and people are going to sit there and they're going to love it. And I've had kind of mixed reactions. No one has hated it, but no one has said best game ever. Most of the people I've played it with have come to kind of the same conclusion. They're like, there's a lot of things about this I like. Now, the things people like are different. Some people don't like the cube combat. Some people don't like the exploring because it really is not that exciting to go out and explore. Everyone seems to like upgrading their pirates, though. That's kind of a fun feature. So take of this what you will. This is really kind of one of those games that I would definitely say try before you buy. If I had a personal collection, this would go in it because I like it that much. Obviously it's going to Dice Tower Library. And I'm going to find a way to, make sure that this game in the box is as easy to pull out and set up as possible. But there are some flaws to the game, I think, and that's what I think about it. So all over the place, but at the end of the day, I had a fun time being a pirate. I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching the Dice Tower. Dice Tower Judgment approved.